What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another transfer update video. Big up to everyone who's been locking into all the daily streams. We've been getting great numbers. Even though the season has finished, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of hope, a lot of expectation going into the transfer window. Let's hope Arsenal can bring players in that do excite us. So big up to everyone who has been tuning in. A lot of news over the past day or so. Obviously, we spoke about some of it yesterday in the stream. Gabriel Magalhaes signing a new 4-year contract at the club was fantastic news. A big player that we need to keep. Obviously, Saliba and Saka are the next two players that we want to see follow suit when it comes to signing new deals. But the main headline, the thing I want to go over the most, is Fabrizio Romano put out a tweet last night. We did speak about it briefly on the show yesterday. He said, I understand Arsenal are now advancing in negotiations for Benjamin Sesko after initial concrete talks reported last week. Discussions underway and proceeding well between all parties involved, player and clubs. No agreement yet or expected this weekend, but the deal is advancing. It sounds as if Arsenal are getting closer to an agreement. A lot of the reports coming out already have said that Sesko is willing to accept Arsenal's offer. There's some sort of verbal agreement in place. It's a case of Arsenal agreeing a fee with RB Leipzig, and I think the deal will be around £65 million. It's just a case of the structure, the add-ons, how quickly that payment is made, and things like that. But they are making progress, and this deal is advancing. Will we hear something next week? Obviously, this first mini transfer window, it closes on the 10th of June and then reopens a week later. So it then closes for a week, then reopens, and then you can go again. So will Arsenal get this deal done in the next 3 days? It doesn't really sound like it, although it may move quickly if they can agree the fee. Or are we going to have to wait a week and a half and then it will be in that second part of the transfer window when it reopens? We've spoken about Sesko a lot. It's clearly the striker that Mikel Arteta wants. We didn't get him last summer or in January, but it looks like Arteta is going to get the striker that he wants now. 22 years of age, Slovenian international over there at RB Leipzig. And that deal is getting closer. We've spoken about it before, but let me know in the comments what you think about Benjamin Sesko, people. In terms of the other striker that we've spoken about a lot, every day we speak about these two strikers, but that is Victor Gyokeres. Now, he's actually now being linked more with a move to Manchester United, which is crazy considering they finished 15th. But obviously, massive club, big money, and his former manager is there. John Cross put out a story last night in the Mirror saying Sporting Lisbon believed that Victor Gyokeres would favour a move to Arsenal if he gets the pick of his clubs this summer, with Manchester United also chasing the striker. The article goes on to say Gyokeres has spoken to Arsenal. He favours a move to a club in the Champions League and one that is challenging at the top of the Premier League, which obviously Arsenal are, whereas Manchester United have struggled. However, it does go on to say he is willing to join Manchester United, with Amorim being the former Sporting Lisbon manager. So Gyokeres favours Arsenal, but Arsenal, it seems, have made their mind up that Benjamin Sesko is the one that they want. Gyokeres turned 27 a few days ago, where Sesko is 22 years of age. That seems to be an overriding factor into the reason why Arsenal want Benjamin Sesko. They feel he is a more long-term solution. I still think 27 is more than reasonable. You know, when you look at strikers like Kane, Lewandowski, Benzema, mid-30s still doing damage. So I wouldn't have worried too much about that, but it looks as if Gyokeres would favour Arsenal, but Arsenal favour Sesko. Will Victor Gyokeres end up at Manchester United, which is the club that are being linked with him most heavily at the moment? And what do you guys think? I know you've commented on this before, but should Arsenal be going for Gyokeres, or is Sesko the one to get? Let me know on that one. We're going to stick with strikers. A couple more stories. Players that have been lightly linked with Arsenal before. One of them is another Victor Osimhen, who, funnily enough, 2 years ago apparently was at the Arsenal training ground. His agent, sorry, was at the Arsenal training ground having a meeting with Edu about a potential move. Back then, it was seen as too expensive with this €100 million release clause. He now has this release clause of £65 million, the same fee as Benjamin Sesko. 30 goals last season for Galatasaray. Victor Osimhen has now accepted a contract offer from Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia, €700,000 a week, tax free. Simone Inzaghi, the former Inter Milan manager who's just left Inter Milan to go to Al Hilal, has made him the top priority. A couple of days ago, it was said that that move was not going to happen. Now it looks as if it is going to happen. Osimhen has accepted the contract offer from Al Hilal. Al Hilal are set to pay the release clause, £65 million. Very intriguing and interesting. Why Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, why these clubs have not signed Victor Osimhen? Mid-20s, scored over 20 goals in Italy, won the title at Napoli, won the title at Galatasaray, done it in the Champions League, done it for Nigeria. Why has nobody bought him? I think the problem, what happened was, once he got that huge offer from Saudi last year, I think he's been using those wages to try and get huge money off clubs in Europe. And clubs in Europe are just not going to pay him those sky-high wages. So a very good striker. Another one off the list, Victor Osimhen going to Al Hilal. Another striker, Fabrizio Romano, again, has announced that João Pedro can leave Brighton this summer. Brighton wants €70 million for João Pedro, which is around £59 million, £58 million to go this summer. He's now a full Brazilian international, Premier League, good player. I do like João Pedro, but for me, just doesn't feel like he's quite prolific enough for me to want to see Arsenal go for him. But he is a good player, 25 years of age, 23 years of age, Brazilian international, and has been in the Premier League for a little while now. A lot of clubs looking at him, been linked with Liverpool, although they are set to try and sell Darwin Núñez before going in for a striker. But I just thought I'd throw that out there, particularly Arsenal fans with us looking at strikers. Would you take João Pedro at Arsenal for £58 million? 10 Premier League goals last year, 9 the year before. Did get 6 goals in 6 Europa League games a couple of seasons ago. And has played 3 times for Brazil. Certainly not the most prolific. I think he's a bit of a sort of Gabriel Jesus kind of player. I think he's got a very, very good all-round game. Link-up play, movement, skill, quick. But the numbers are not there yet. But I think in a market where there aren't that many top strikers, at £58 million for a 23-year-old Brazilian international with Premier League pedigree, I think somebody will take João Pedro. But whether Arsenal will go for him again, I think it's going to be Sesko. But I thought I would just bring that one up. Let me know in the comments what you think about João Pedro, not just Arsenal fans, fans of other clubs in the Premier League. And finally, to finish off this video, Declan Rice has been voted the Arsenal Player of the Season. 52% of the vote voted for Declan Rice. Bukayo Saka came second in that vote, with David Raya in third. I have to admit, quite surprised that Timber wasn't nominated. I think he's been brilliant this year. I think Gabriel would have been in there if it wasn't for the injury, but obviously he's been injured since March. Declan Rice, who, for me, I think until December was having a pretty average season. I think from about Christmas to the end of the season, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. Obviously, this season will be remembered for his 2 goals against Real Madrid, 2 of the best free kicks you will see in the same game, particularly that second one. But he's driven us on, the leadership, the deliveries. I think he's been absolutely brilliant in the second part of the season. So well done to Declan Rice, Arsenal's Player of the Season. Let's hope next season he's lifting silverware in an Arsenal shirt. Big up to everyone locked in. Let me know in the comments about what we've spoken about today. Arsenal advancing on Sesko. Gyokeres wants Arsenal, but looks like he could be going to Man United. Osimhen going to Al Hilal. João Pedro available for 58 million. Would you take him? Declan Rice, Arsenal's player of the season. Like the video, subscribe. Appreciate your support. And I will see you all tomorrow, people. Take care, everyone. Bless.